What is going on, guys? Kasson right here, and today we're going to be talking about this quick video that I'm putting together while I film an in-depth review. I've been shooting an in-depth review about these two cameras this week. One is the Sony FX30 that you can see right here, and the other one is the Sony ZVE1. Now, the reason why I decided to put this video together is because while making this review, I just feel that I have to discuss this sooner or later. I know that a lot of people may be jumping on board between the Sony ZVE1 versus other cameras right there. And I think that you should know this thing if you are not familiar with this type of bodies, or if you're coming from another ecosystem, or if this is your very first video camera that you're getting. Let's actually start with the Sony ZVE1, which is the new kid on the block. More to come in that video, but let's actually focus on the ergonomics. So this camera has some shortcomings that have been a little bit of a challenge for me while shooting this review. You know, I'm taking several videos, shooting everyday different things. And one of the things that had happened with this camera is that, as you can see right now, I have this strap. Usually when shooting with the FX30 or the Sony a7 IV, FX6, you know, those cameras, I don't need to actually put a strap. I actually like the freedom of, you know, being able to release the camera whenever I need it. But with the Sony ZVE1, one of the issues that I've been having is that the camera feels very heavy and very insecure in the hand when using somewhat of a large lens. And now the lens that I have right here is the 24-70 f2.8 version 2. So this lens is actually smaller than the version 1. So with the version 1, the problem I can assume is going to be more accentuated. But one of the issues that you're going to have with this camera when shooting with different lenses, and I actually put the 70-200 as well, is that it is so front forward heavy that there is a huge chance that this camera can slip off your hands. And that is something that you have to keep in mind, because if you're picking up this camera for wedding videos, for example, professional video work, social media, whatever the case may be, something that entails to be running and gunning with the camera, you should know about this because it could actually represent a lot of issues to you. Now, the other thing is that I'm used to a little bit more of buttons when it comes to video cameras. One of the reasons why, you know, I've been shooting for the past 3 years with the FX6 and also the Sony FX3, which is the camera that is filming me right now, is the amount of buttons that we have to configure. With this camera, I feel somewhat limited, and this is another thing that you have to keep in mind. If you're gonna be picking this camera for commercial work where you have to act fast, or, you know, you cannot miss a moment, for example, like in a wedding. Now, I wanna show you this camera that I have right here, and as you can see, this is the Sony FX30. Now, this camera, I got it to be kind of like a companion, a second camera, sometimes a third camera when I shoot with my FX6, FX3, and now this camera. And I got this camera because of the price. I figure that if I can get the usability and ergonomics of the FX3 in this FX30 crop sensor, because this one is an APS-C, I think it's a bargain. And to be honest with you, after shooting with this camera for a couple of weeks now, and one of the things that I did not like about APS-C cameras makes me fall in love again with this body. The body is everything. Like I was mentioning before, this camera, if you take it for professional work and you're gonna be in situations where you're gonna be jumping from one place to another, you know, having to trigger function and all that stuff on the fly, and you cannot miss the moment, well, chances are that this camera is gonna give you a hard time, and a lot of the things that you're used to do with bodies like this one or the FX3 are gonna be much more easier, and this is gonna become a better option for you. For example, if you see this cutter right here, that anchor actually holds the camera by its own. And that's one of the things that I like about this body. Super robust and really grippy. You can actually feel your fist with a grip. And that is something that you cannot do with this camera right here, the ZVE1. As you can see, you know, there is room right there. And, you know, I'm trying to exaggerate it so you can see what I'm telling you. But this camera actually does not allow you to do that. Also, you have this little notch right here in the back that if you see the profile, it kind of anchors with the back of your hand, added to this other notch right here in the front, and you basically get gripping from, you know, multiple directions. So I don't know if I'm gonna be keeping this camera, to be honest with you. I mean, I love it. I mean, full frame, it's great. Great low light capabilities, 640 to 1200, 800. And this one starts at 800 to 3200. Not the same range in the same capabilities in low light, but this camera actually does really good. In fact, you are gonna see a sharper image than the Sony FX30, for example, Sony A7 III, and of course the Sony ZVE1, which is the camera that we're gonna be reviewing in. Hopefully I'm gonna finish the video this week. And again, over 35 points that I'm gonna be talking about both machines and help you decide if this is a camera for you. All right, so if you own the Sony FX30 or Sony ZVE1, let me know what you think, because I'll be dropping that video hopefully this week, but I wanna know what do you think right now about the ergonomics. And don't get me wrong, the Sony ZVE1 may be the camera for you, depending your situation. And I think my upcoming video is gonna help you decide. So I'll see you later, guys.